Hello, art friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. As you see, our kayaks that we haven't used in 18 months, I guess, maybe.
Something like that. Hello there.
Yeah, so we've been busy. I've been out since 7 a.m. working in the yard and trying to get things cleared. We have fence up around all the cleared yards, so now we have fence up. I got to put driveway gates in and put gates in a couple of other spots. But we're making progress, and we have 2 greenhouses to put up, as well as possibly salvage a small one from our other property that we're selling, and then build one that's going to last longer and be stronger than the the prefab type ones.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and you'll have to excuse me. I'm one of those that's been affected by that X flare. I'm pretty sick today.
She's feeling off. A lot of people are feeling off. She's had no energy, just feeling exhausted. I was going through comments, and a lot of people are feeling completely wiped out and sleeping as much as as much as they need. And that's a good idea right now, because there's so many things going on. As Cindy said, there was an I believe it was an X 1.2 flare. There's 2 CME'S. So the 7th and the 8th will be feeling more impacts from this. And again, it doesn't have to be like a major impact to really affect us right now, consciousness-wise, because we're going through the Ascension period. There was a video sent to me by one of you guys that William, I believe, sent it, that was of I guess what would be the proper term, but anyway, it was just talking about the zombie apocalypse from, again, a yuga standpoint, and saying this is just a natural process with the cycle of the yugas, that we kind of go through a falling away from source. We kind of lose touch with source, or if you want to call it God, big G, the creation energy of everything, of which we are all a part. But it was interesting to listen to this person talking, and talking about the zombie apocalypse. And the zombies are those that have lost touch with source, that have forgotten that they're part of source, that source is within them. And so in some ways, they were saying that these are almost like soulless beings, in the sense that they've lost touch with that which connects all of us, that one consciousness. And again, it is something that happens through these cycles, which is a natural order of things. Albeit the artificial intelligence component is something that is separate from these cycles, but that aspect and those lower vibrational life forms that serve that aspect, that's just it. They're lower vibrational life forms, and they're stuck. They're totally stuck. They cannot go any higher. So for them, they're always living in a Kali Yuga. Always. They don't get out of the Kali Yuga.
I thought it was interesting, because isn't that what we talk about a lot, about people losing touch with themselves? And I don't really know much of anything about Hinduism. I know some. I don't read the books. You guys know that I have a hard time reading books, but the information flows, and that's really what I picked up too, is the zombie apocalypse. It is those who are just completely lost, and they're just not able to reconnect. And I find that sad. And I think if their soul really wants to reconnect, they're probably subconsciously keeping their ears open and their hearts open to find something to grab a hold of, because it is almost like, you throw thing, you throw a rope out into the water, and if someone really wants to grab it, they will. And I feel like we're kind of there now with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, how do we reconnect? And I cannot stress how good it feels to stay out in nature. So, today's been a blessing. It's overcast. So it's only like 90, maybe 92, something like that, which is 10 degrees less than it's been. And so I've been able to work outside for 5 or 6 hours straight and no problem. Whereas when it gets so hot, it's really tough to get things done. But the other thing that's a blessing is the disconnect, because again, I was thinking as I'm working out here of those tribes, say in these pockets, whether it's in the islands of the Pacific, South Pacific, like off around Vanuatu and Fiji and American Samoa and all this. Or, if you're in the Amazon jungle, these tribes, they don't really experience a fall like we do. Again, wouldn't you agree, sweetie?
I do agree. I think they stay connected to nature, and that's their rope.
Yeah. So again, what is it that's pulling us down? And as I'm going through this property, which... again, this property we got for a really low price, and all these thoughts that go through my head, like, well, obviously we don't really own it, even though, technically your your name is on a deed, but you never really own anything. Everything is truly temporary. Nothing is permanent. And, for those that are going to keep in touch with that source spark, again, the Kali Yuga and the beginning part of the Bronze Age, those are just temporary. They're just temporary things as we head back up into a greater sense of oneness and a greater sense of knowing and a greater sense of appreciation too. So as I'm clearing all the brush and stuff from 20 years pretty much of nobody taking care of anything, I'm always asking permission and giving thanks for the service of the elementals as I'm removing vines and prickers and things like that, just here up closer to the house, because there's that old shed there is a storage shed. There's another one like that right behind it that houses an old well that they were using for irrigation, as this our 4 acres is really part of a much larger parcel that was around 70 acres and a big homestead that was a family homestead going back to when the first Europeans came here, probably like 150 years ago or so. So, a lot of the people in this neighborhood, they're all related, and they've all been here the entire time. They're really rooted in the area. But again, there was an old lady here for 15 years. Her husband had passed on, and then she lived 2 years. Well, she passed on 2 years ago, but she was alone for about 15 years as well. So nobody really did anything to the property for 20 years, and 20 years of overgrowth, kind of nature coming back and reclaiming everything. And, it's going to do the same thing with our cities, too. I mean, there will be the little smart city components, but so much of the earth is going to go back and be reclaimed by nature. And the remnants of this whole civilization will be less and less and less with each year that passes by. So again, we got to make a choice. What are we going to do? Are we going to cultivate the spiritual side of things, or are we going to go along with the system? Going along with the system and going into the smart cities. And I was watching also another video today of a woman that seemed to be thrilled with herself. Why was she thrilled with herself? Because she didn't have to pull out a wallet. She was in, I think it was Whole Foods, and I think it was here in the United States. And so she had a chip implanted in her hand, and she just was like, watch. And she just swipes her hand and she says, "Isn't this great?" And I'm thinking, aren't you stupid? Don't you understand what this is leading to? And yet the zombie apocalypse rolls on. But again, only for those that are being lulled into that comatose spiritual state.
It is very unfortunate. And no, she can't see. All she sees is the convenience. And for her soul and spirit, I guess she wants to be free, but there's a price to pay for that. And she's not even aware, I suppose.
No, and there was another post out that was talking about, and I'm not sure if it's real or not. I tend to think it's not real, but it was talking about Putin going to remove all the FIVEG and redo that technology with something safer. Yeah, again, probably not a legitimate post, but again, we understand the bigger picture. We totally get the bigger picture. And this person that was speaking on that Hindu channel, again, is somebody that you may call a yogi, and yet was stating in very clear terms exactly what we all know is going on. And here is somebody that says, yeah, it's obvious what's going on. We know what's going on. And only soulless beings could do this to other beings. And that is the state of things. That is the nature of things, as it all is going to completely unravel. And people have this big realization that, the ones that have been sleepwalking, some will continue to sleepwalk into oblivion, and others will all of a sudden recognize what's going on and try to remove themselves from this process.
We all have choices, and I think you just got to get your rudder pointed in the right direction for right now.
Yes, absolutely. And that right direction is right into the woods. It's being in contact with nature again. It's rooting and grounding. One thing the guides have had us do every day. And last night, I wasn't really feeling like it, but came back and did 30 minutes of standing Zhang Zhuang, which is a form of standing meditation, Qigong energy work, where you gather the life force and draw the life force into your body through rooting and structural postural alignment. And we've done numerous videos on that. And, there's many others that have done videos on this too. Although actually when I do look at the Qigong videos, it doesn't seem like they're growing. It seems like they are being restricted. And we know why, because again, this is going to quicken the ascension process. This is also going to balance our energies. Cindy had shared that she had a rough Kundalini awakening experience, where with me it was much more gentle. And the reason it was much more gentle was my continual Qigong practice. And I did get to one point where it almost felt like I could have a heart attack because of all the pressure that was building up from gathering so much life force. And it was all gathering in my middle dantian, and it was giving a very, very full sensation in the middle dantian, which is in between the solar plexus and the heart chakras. And I recognized it because years earlier, I had the same thing going on in the lower dantian. And the solution was to circulate the energy and also to vary the hand positioning of the gathering of the qi. So, we've again done videos on the qigong. There's a short qigong practice, which I think it'd be wonderful to practice daily. It's about 20 minutes. That can open up to all your meridians, purge the negative energy, and just get you ready to face the day. And then there's the longer one, which is about an hour, and that one does all that, but it also builds a lot of energy, and it circulates the energy through the meridians. So that's a very, very powerful practice.
And very, very useful. They're really good when it comes to circulating your energy and building your energy, something that would have made my life easier.
Yes, and Cindy did practice Tai Chi as a child. When she was young, she did practice Tai Chi before she ever met me. But then she fell away from the practice, And it wasn't until we got together that she started to practice the Qigong, and really, she just took right off.
It really helped a lot.
It did, because she is so naturally gifted in so many ways. She just needed more rooting, grounding, and circulating. And this is what's needed for everybody in these times, because we are going through massive purging, and we should be rooting and grounding every day, even if it's just getting out into a setting like this as much as you can, putting your bare feet on the ground, and just visualize yourself sinking roots into the ground. With each inhale, draw up the life force from the earth herself up into your body. With each exhale, just see your body glow in a brilliant, vibrant green color like these leaves. And just visualize that. The green color will help heal the physical body, and the rooting effect will also help you to be more stable in these times, and more solid, because so many people are really losing it in these times. And it's just part of the falling away, because, as this one person was saying, there's not going to be a physical rapture per se, but there is going to be a spiritual transition to where those that are on the ascending path, you're just going to a place that those that are going to be bogged down with all the technology of the nanu variety and the heavy, dense, lower vibrational frequencies, they just can't go. They just can't go, because the earth is ascending with or without us. So it's our choice.
It is our choice. Yeah.
I hope you guys got something out of the video. Look forward to your comments. Thank you for your support on Patreon. We couldn't do it without you guys' support there, and also on Ko-Fi. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.